Hey guys, so as you'll probably know, we did the Overland Track in Tasmania a few months ago. We did a 7-day hike and we decided to make this video because there's a few things that we wish we knew before we started. And
yeah, so we've put together our top 10 tips to help you guys make the most out of your time over there and most of the experience, and I guess things we wish we knew and that we found out along the way. So we'll go through them with you. So tip number 1 from us is don't catch the ferry.
Yeah, so most people just tend to do the Overland Track over 6 days. And from Narcissus Hut, which is on the last day for them, they just catch the ferry to Cynthia Bay. But the actual full Overland Track, you keep walking from Narcissus, so you do an extra like 30 kilometres.
About 30 Ks, yep.
And camp one extra night at
Echo Point.
Yep. And then keep walking to Cynthia Bay usually the next day. So in our opinion, you're missing out on
The full Overland experience.
Yeah, you're not actually completing the whole thing. And a lot of people don't know that. Like, a lot of people just hear that, okay, you get to Narcissus Hut and then you catch the ferry, but really that's not the whole hike. And a lot of people don't actually realise that till they get there, and it's kind of too late because they've already planned their hike.
So give it a go.
Yeah.
It's expensive to catch the ferry. I remember
it was pretty $50 a person
It was pretty expensive. So give yourself the extra time, give it a go, finish the whole Overland Track. You've done the 6 days, you might as well just finish it off.
And we'd highly recommend camping at Echo Point Hut because you actually camp on the beach there and it's so beautiful. Like, we got a little jetty and we watched the sunrise and sunset there.
And there was only like 2 other tents when we were there because everyone else catches the ferry.
Yeah,
so
90% of people caught the ferry.
Yeah.
And the track is really nice because it does follow the lake along. It is more untouched and a bit kind of overgrown in places because most people don't go that way, but it's beautiful and you would
awesome way to finish it.
Highly recommend doing that and don't catch the ferry.
So tip number 2, beware of leeches.
Yeah, so we didn't realise that they were as common and so many on the track until we kind of started. We were warned kind of by our transport company on the way there. They kind of mentioned it and like how to get them off the best way and all that, but we didn't realise there were so many on
and
the
we've
track.
personally never come along, come past leeches before on our past hikes. So this was a first for us.
So they're obviously normally found near water sources and damp places, so down by a lot of creeks and rivers and that sort of thing. I have one on my water bladder as we're walking through a forest, so like obviously really dense kind of wet forest that you walk through. And somehow one attached itself to my little water bladder mouth bit.
So Tassie has the perfect climate for it. You just got to remember that no matter where you are in Tassie, there's going to be leeches somewhere.
And especially camping, if you're camping near New Pelion Hut, it's kind of just a grassy section. There's only like one tent platform which holds a few tents, but most people will be on the grass. And there's kind of a little creek that runs through.
It's so tempting to camp along the creek.
Yeah, because it's beautiful.
Like, it looks amazing. One couple did it when we were there. And
Next
I'll tell you what,
us.
their whole tent the next morning was just like speckled in black.
They were trying to shake it, they were trying to flick them off, they were everywhere.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, so be careful, especially at that hut if you're camping. But the best tip that we were taught to get them off is actually using your little Overland pass. So you get this when you start. It's basically just a little pass to say that you've registered and paid for your trip, basically.
You keep it on you the whole walk.
Yeah. And so the best way to get them off is to actually get between their mouth and your skin and flick them off.
Because you're actually trying to disconnect their jaw. It's the jaw that like goes into your skin.
Yeah.
So the way we got taught, it's a matter of getting this in between the jaw and your skin and doing one quick straight off. Same as with a credit card or license, anything like a card.
But because we have this on us all the time, it's accessible. Just get it on and flick them off. Because if you actually, a lot of the traditional ways, I guess, of getting them off is with salt or like burning them.
Or, don't pull.
Which does work, and they will come off because they don't like that, but they can actually regurgitate your blood back into you through the wound. And obviously they're bringing their bacteria with it, so then you can get an infection in the wound. And
so better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, just flick them off with the Overland pass.
And you will come past them.
Yeah, you will see them, definitely.
Alright, so tip number 3 from us is protect your bag.
So mainly from currawongs, and we didn't know what they were before we started the hike either, but
they're evil.
They are. They're kind of terrifying.
They're like little satans flying around.
So they're basically these black birds. It's basically like a crow.
They look exactly like a crow if you don't know what they are.
And they've just got yellow eyes, like bright yellow, and they're just
smart.
Yeah.
They are so smart.
They're used to hikers, and basically for a lot of the side trips you kind of leave your pack at the trailhead so that you don't have to carry it all the way up because you have to return back to that section anyway.
Yeah.
So to make it easy, leave your pack there, and these smart little birds know that people do that and that obviously hikers have food in their bags. And can smell it probably as well.
Which isn't an issue until they learn to undo zips, undo buckles, peel your rain cover off your bag.
Yeah.
They literally sit there undoing zips and stuff. Like,
and
we've
I
seen someone lose like all their ham and salami, like
rubbish everywhere because they've eaten everything.
They're unreal. They are seriously. It's something to be very mindful of.
Yeah. And like, I guess they have practice every single day because people do it every single day, but
clearly it's how they get their food.
Yeah. So our tip to protect your bag from the currawongs, number one is, if you can, use a hair tie, use a zip tie, use something to actually
keep the zips together.
Yeah, because if they can separate them, then they're in. So
we took a little travel padlock, which you usually use on like planes and that sort of thing, and that's what I use.
Yeah, I'd sometimes use a hair tie as well. But yeah, even just like the clip buckles that you push and then pull, they can do them. So just if there's any that you know you're not going to use the whole time, like a lot of bags have extra pockets that don't get used or just different access points, then just keep them locked the whole time.
Yep. And a mistake we did see some people make was put, you know how some bags you have your brain that separates from the bag itself, they put their snacks and food in between that section so it's easy for them to get to. But that's so easy for them to just like put their beak in and grab out. Yeah. So it's important, whenever you leave your bag, even if it's not raining, put your rain cover on, but actually tie the rain cover toggles at the back of the bag. So it can't just be peeled back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if you have more than one bag, put them together. So we'd tie all our zips and all that, put the rain cover over it, and then leave it face down so that the rain cover's up and there's nothing accessible. And then, because we have both of ours, we'd sit the other one on top.
Face to face.
Yep, or back to back, whatever you want. just so it's not accessible to the currawongs, because they are
Google
insane little birds.
So tip number 4, which is a big one from me, is do the side trips.
Yeah. The hike honestly wouldn't be anywhere near as amazing, in our opinion, if we didn't do the side trips. And we did all of them but one.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe that's so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one that we didn't do, and the track itself is beautiful, and obviously the nature and all that and wilderness is just insane. But to get the best views, you obviously need to go to the summits of a lot of these mountains, which are not included in the actual normal trip. They're in the side trips. So.
And it's not normal summiting, like it's boulder scrambling and like, you know, climbing. So
it is challenging, and it's not for everyone. A lot of people probably don't have the physical capability to be able to do it, but if you can, at least do one. At least try one. Go, like maybe Cradle Mountain, Barn Bluff, Mount Ossa. Just go to one summit, because the views on a clear day are insane. And even just the challenge of getting up there, like you said, climbing on all the rocks. And
it's 100% worth it. For me personally, that's what made the whole hike for me. Yeah. It was all the side trips. Yeah. Without those, we sort of would have been pretty early to each of the huts, and it's a bit too quick.
The track itself is actually very short. Like some days might only be 3 hours of actual walking, which some people might want that, and they might want to get to the hut and then relax that day. But for us, we definitely want to push and challenge ourselves. And the side trips were amazing, and even just the waterfalls. There are a lot of waterfalls in the second half of the trip, and we'd come just after a lot of rain, so they're absolutely beautiful. And it also just comes down to like taking your time as well. Like we were big on not getting to the hut early, not in the fact that we didn't want to be there early, but we just wanted to make the most of our day and the hours in the day that we could be spending looking at all these beautiful sights. And
because getting to, as you would know, getting to camp late doesn't worry us at all. There was nights where we got there and it was starting to go dark.
But a lot of days you can do a side trip and still get to the hut by 5 o'clock, you know, or by daylight, or I don't know.
It's just a matter of getting up on time, really, get going and get back.
But definitely consider doing the side trips. So number 5 is pitch a tent. Our personal opinion is that camping is a lot better than sleeping in the huts that are provided each night. We just find that the huts are very crowded. Most people would choose to sleep in the hut. Well, when we went anyway, we found that was the case. I guess it's a lot easier, and you're obviously warmer and safer, sheltered, all that sort of thing.
I guess it comes down to what you're comfortable with. Our personal preference, we go hiking to sort of get away from people. It's our own little escape.
And we just love nature and the full experience, you know, like we're not going out there to sleep in a hotel basically, especially the first night.
Some of the new huts and the
waterfall
upgraded huts
are
just unreal. It's like little chalets.
And that's not what we want our experience to be. I mean, it's up to you all, but we also found that a lot of people that were sleeping in the huts would actually kind of race there each night. Not race, but go very quickly during the day and not do side trips just in order to get to the hut early and secure a spot in the hut, because a lot of them are limited. Some might only be 8 people, I think.
Yeah, so
some
get
of the smaller
the
ones.
bunks that they want and so forth,
And
that's not what we were about.
And that's not what the hike should be about. Sleeping in the tent was beautiful.
Yep.
I don't know. It's quieter, more privacy. You're not listening to people snoring and smelly clothes and everything.
Yeah, and it's so well set up for tents.
Yeah.
The platforms that they have available are amazing. Makes life so much easier. Everything stays dry.
Yeah.
You don't have to put anything on the ground.
Yeah.
And then how it even works pitching it on the platforms, which we've shown previously.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's worth it.
Yeah. And it's just nice to open your tent in the morning and have this beautiful view, and
looking
you're
at a summit.
kind of alone, and it's so much nicer. So if you're prepared, which everyone should be on the Overland Track,
take a tent anyways.
Yeah, 4-season tent, because it can snow, as we all know, in summer and any time. But you're going to have the warm gear and the waterproof gear and the good tent anyway, so why not pitch it and honestly just sleep in the tent most of the nights. We only slept in one hut, and that's because we did want to try it for one night. We did want to experience that. And it was a night that was actually pissing down like 40 mil of rain or something.
40 mil. So we just thought it came sort of hand in hand. We wanted to try one.
Yeah.
It was a shitty weather night.
Yeah.
So
and
why not?
We're glad that we experienced it, but we're also glad that every other night we slept in the tent, because we prefer that.
I did not sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't handle people.
Yeah. A lot of people just rustling around. The sleeping bags are noisy, and
because you just lined up like sardines in a can.
And you don't have fresh
top
air.
and bottom.
Everyone stinks.
Yeah.
It's just not a fun
I like
time.
our tent.
Yeah.
We stink together. You don't smell it after 7 days.
So number 6 is keep your packs in the hut overnight. So I guess that is only if you are sleeping in your tent, which we just recommended. But it's another wildlife that you need to be not concerned about, but aware of, is the possums.
Which are the same as corryongs without wings.
Just as evil.
They will rip into your tent for food.
They smell it from a mile away.
Yep.
They're not scared of humans.
So you're definitely told at the start of the hike also, like to always keep your pack and anything with food remnants, anything to do with snacks in the huts at night if you are camping. Which we did every night, but we still had a lot of encounters with them at night times. There was a scenario where we were cooking dinner on our platform. They're not scared to come right up to you and try and take it out of your hands.
Yeah,
like this is how used they are to people. We had another night where we didn't want to wash our plates because it was pretty late. Oh, I think we wiped it, but not like
actual
properly.
Wash, yeah.
So we just put it in the tent with us or in the little vestibule for the next morning. And in the middle of the night, I was wrestling a possum outside the tent, like pulling our stuff back in.
Yeah.
It just took him. So
trying to take your water bladder and everything.
My water bladder, So
anything that could even smell the slightest bit like food, just keep inside the hut. And most of them have like a designated kind of like a little wet area, which is for boots and wet clothes, I guess, as well. But also for people who are sleeping in the tents can keep their packs in there, which we found really handy.
And it is worth it as well, actually, just touch on with the condensation with your tent. It is worth to just keep your packs in there. It keeps everything dry.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. Everyone else's gear's in there as well, so don't worry about it. It's all safe.
And everything, yeah.
So tip number 7 from us would be plan your itinerary. We found there were a few things which we didn't know that we could have the option to do.
And would have liked to.
We would have done a few things different. So we're going to run through some of those.
Yeah. So when you actually book the Overland Track, the date you book is actually only the start date. So it's the date that you leave Cradle Mountain. But then basically after that, you can choose how many nights you want to do it over, where you want to go. There's actually hut side options like Pine Valley, which we didn't actually know about till we're on the track. So a little bit disappointing because we would have gone there probably.
We would have added a day or two onto the hike and they'd just done it while we were out there.
Because from Pine Valley there is the Labyrinth and the Acropolis, which look like awesome side trips.
Yep.
But yeah, as I said, just research as much as you can and plan as much as you can, but also you have to still be flexible because you might get there and then it's pissing down rain and you can't summit Mount Ossa. So,
you might want to stay another night.
Or if you think you might need an extra day to do a side trip, then do that. So you can take as long or as little as you want, because on the other hand, you can do it over 3 days if you want.
Yeah, that's the other option. Like if you are time poor and you have other commitments, it's something you can organise to do in 5 days. There are definitely days there where if you wanted to skip a few side trips, you could smash out 2 huts in a day.
Yeah.
So you can definitely shorten it as well if you are time poor to still have the experience.
Yeah. But it's definitely weather dependent and make sure you're doing it all safely. But as we've said, we just want to spend as much time as we can out there and take it all in. So we definitely would have added Pine Valley. So definitely consider that.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 8 is buy a map. So specifically buy the map from Parks Wildlife Service Tasmania. It just looks like this. So basically just a little map. It folds out into a massive, like full-scale bloody map.
Has everything you need.
Yeah. So you obviously need that in case you do get lost, especially in winter. Like we didn't do it in winter, but we've heard lots of reports that obviously once there's snow on the ground, it can be very disorientating, like because you can't see the path.
Yep.
And a lot of the time there's not like snow markers along, so it would be very easy to get lost.
Especially summit-wise or side trip-wise.
Yeah.
The main track itself, during the normal months of the year, are very easy to follow. But even the side trips on these sunny days, some of them you got to sort of find your own way. So it could be very hard in winter.
Yeah. So definitely take your own map, just worst case scenario type thing.
Yep.
But it also, I've just followed out here, it's got actually written all the suggested days and itineraries.
Yep.
Along with times, distances, your side trips, like pretty much all the information you can need. So
yeah, so if you don't want to sit down and have to research everything and make your own itinerary,
you can follow
this is an awesome itinerary to follow.
Yeah.
A great hint that we actually got once again during our transportation to Cradle Mountain was the timeframes or the estimated timeframes for the side trips and the day-to-day. It's good to suss out where you sort of fall in on that very first day or with your first side trip, because that gives you an idea of what to follow through.
Because the estimates sort of say 4 to 6 hours walking. So then what we would do is walk that distance and we'd be like, okay, that took us 5. So we sit right in the middle of that. Or you might be earlier than the 4 and then you know that all these estimates are allowing for more than you need. So just kind of work out where you sit on that scale was...
Because then it made the rest of the 6 days way easier. Yeah. We knew what time frames we were looking at to get to the hut, what time we'd be having lunch as approximates.
Yeah.
But it did help a lot.
Yeah.
We didn't have to double guess, didn't have to second guess ourselves. And
And it's really interesting. It's got heaps of information, even on the vegetation and wildlife and all that sort of thing. It's also waterproof, so you don't have to worry about getting it wet. And I think it was less than $10. I think it was pretty cheap. So definitely invest in one of these maps.
There is an option to buy it when you buy your ticket for the Overland. It's called something slightly different to what there is on the Parks Tas website. So we accidentally bought it twice.
That's all right.
But get it with your ticket. I think it's discounted with your ticket as well.
And there also is a booklet as well, like a little more detailed kind of description. It's not actually a map though, it's just more like the wildlife and all that sort of thing.
And a bit of a day-to-day run through as well.
So either would be good, but I think I would recommend this one more
definitely.
than that. Yeah. So tip number 9 is take Ziploc bags. So specifically these big ones we found really handy, mainly for rubbish and food. So all rubbish has to be carried out on the Overland Track. So we found keeping one of these to put all your rubbish in to carry out is probably the best way to do it because it stops everything else smelling and getting food remnants and other things.
Yep.
And just keeping your rubbish also flat. So rather than scrunching it up, just keep everything flat and then you can actually fit so much rubbish in one of these. I think we only used
We
two
used,
for the rubbish the whole
I think it's
time.
1.5 for the entire trip, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Which probably it's worth doing a bit, invest a bit when you are packing as well to get rid of as much rubbish as you can prior to going.
Yeah.
But fits a lot in there.
Yeah. And so we actually use these to put our food in for each day. So say this would be one day, we just put all our brekkie, snacks, dinner, lunch, keep it all separated by day. So these are really handy and they just have so many uses. But obviously it is plastic and it's creating more rubbish. So another good idea that we used also is your dry sacks.
Standard dry sacks, which we always had one of these for our sort of, camp clothes and our second, which was our second backup pair of clothes. So for me, I kept, my second pair of clothes, a set of thermals, a pair of socks. That was my night gear or my backup set. And, no matter the weather, no matter what happens, you're always going to have something dry to get into at night, which is really important, especially if you get smashed by rain and you just need to get out of wet clothes at night time.
Yeah.
Don't want to get sick.
And even if you do have a few, it's good to just separate your clothing in these, in your bag. We also use some packing cubes, just little, they're not waterproof or anything, but if you do have multiple of these, you could just, put socks in one, put tops in another.
Electronics, kept all of it, Katelyn's camera gear in them, all of our power banks, all that sort of stuff. Keep your electronics warm at night. Drains the batteries big time.
The cold can do that.
So, no.
But definitely some Ziploc bags, dry sacks, just to keep everything separate and clean, basically. Yep. All right, so our last tip is number 10, which is make friends on the track.
Oh.
Which is not something we went into like thinking. We're very, very like kind of independent and like, I don't know, wasn't really
we
our
keep
goal.
to ourselves. Yeah, we're not out there going people, even though we do YouTube. It's completely different to talking to people in person, so we're not really.
And it wasn't our goal to like go out there and make a heap of friends, but we met some really nice people on the track, and you kind of, if most people follow the same itinerary, which most do, you end up staying at the same hut with them each night and stopping at, you know, lunch spots with them and stuff, and it's nice to get to know them and have advice from other people as well, and just
see how other people do their normal hiking, like what gear they use, tips and tricks from them. We met a few when we were doing our summits, and we do them together. It's just nice to have someone around where you can, I don't know, and especially if things go wrong, or if you need someone to give you a hand, you got that sort of relationship.
A few people that we like spent a lot of time with that were also doing it by themselves, so it was good for them to have reassurance with other people and that sort of thing, and it was just really nice. It's something that we kind of didn't expect, and it
sort of surprised us, and we still talk about it and those people, wonder what they're up to. So it's pretty cool.
So basically just have fun. These are some tips that will hopefully help and just make your experience even better. But just enjoy it.
Take in every moment. I guess it is important. You do get distracted staring at your feet a lot of the time. Make sure to just look up, look around. Just
enjoy it.
See what you're walking through, even if you're sore and tired.
Just appreciate where you are.
That's exactly
and just
right.
The fact that you are able to do that and be out there. And
Tasmania is just a different world in itself.
The wilderness is so beautiful out there. So enjoy your hike. And
hope this helps a bit.